that could legalize same-sex marriage. The Minnesota House approved the bill today, and now it moves to the Senate. Minnesota's governor says he supports it. If it does become law, same-sex marriages could start August 1st. The fight for marriage equality and gay rights isn't just taking place in state legislatures.
In its own way, it's being played out on athletic fields and in locker rooms also. Tonight, only on Fox 6, a look at a powerful collection of athletes who are making sure everyone plays by the same rules.
It's all about, your work ethic and
when Jason Collins went from being the tallest pro athlete you'd never heard of to being the front man for gay rights and equality, he had to know he'd have support among his peers. Many straight athletes, including the Brewers' Yovani Gallardo, have shown their support for the No Hate campaign, which champions marriage equality. Former Vikings punter Chris Kluwe has been extremely vocal in his support of gay rights.
Athletes hold a certain amount of cultural capital.
Hudson Taylor coaches wrestling at Columbia University, but it was during his college wrestling career at the University of Maryland when he noticed his theater major friends and his wrestling buddies spoke very different languages.
Seeing the open and accepting theater department juxtaposed with the homophobic language of the locker room really put this issue into perspective for me and made me realize that we as an athletic community can and should be better.
And thus, Athlete Ally was formed. The concept is simple. Convince athletes, straight or gay, to use their considerable cachet to erase homophobic language and actions wherever possible. And it's not just pro athletes. So what do you see yourself doing with this life of yours? Jackson Weber is smart enough to get accepted into an Ivy League school and talented enough athletically to play football when he arrives at Cornell next fall. He is, in jock speak, a real stud, a multi-sport athlete at Whitefish Bay High School. He has also signed the pledge to be an athlete ally.
To help combat homophobia in sports and stand up for the people in the LGBTQ community who may be in sports, may be out of sports, but to make them have a comfortable environment to be a part of and not feel like they can't be themselves in the sports environment.
Wait, no, please, I'm a terrible swimmer.
There is a perception, fairly or not, that the biggest jocks in schools are often the biggest bullies, the most likely to pick on the kids who are different, often the kids who are gay.
Just to start right now,
which makes this gathering in an art room at Whitefish Bay High School that much more remarkable. Once a month, the Gay Straight Student Alliance meets to talk about, well, gay-straight issues. The club president is a triathlete, and all four guys in the group are athletes at Bay. Football players, rugby players, wrestlers, modeling their athletic heroes not just on the field, but off.
People who are in their 20s, 30s, making millions of dollars, speaking out for a cause that they truly believe in. It inspires people like us, athletes in high school, to do the same.
Jackson Weber has spent much of his 18 years playing sports, and he's heard the hateful homophobic slurs fly. And while not directed at him, he knows they're wrong, and he knows it's up to him to do something.
There's been several instances where you hear people in the locker room or just out on the field, just someone will call someone a fag or something like that, and it's just not cool. So I try to keep my calm about things and just ask them as politely as I can, not to use that word because it's offensive.
Also receptive, the kids in school who are gay, either privately or openly. Having an athlete be an ally doesn't end all discrimination, of course, but it's appreciated.
when someone who has that much of a following comes out and says, this is what I believe, people will say, oh, this person who I look up to and respect thinks this. Maybe they're onto something.
It's not just athletes who are asked to sign the pledge, by the way. It's coaches, administrators, even fans, all asked to do their part. A link to the Athlete Ally website can be found on ours, fox6now.com. And in full disclosure, I need to point this out. I am a volunteer baseball coach at a local high school, and I, too, have signed the pledge.
It'll be interesting to see how many groups like